Look how tired I look. Oh man, it's been a rough morning, but I made it. I'm here, so I got my coffee brewing. Let me get my chat set up over here. Let you guys get a minute to get in here. All right. Let's see, got my coffee brewing this morning. Got Herschel with me today. I think I got like a bit of a bedhead thing going on here. Huh. Well, I mean, it's early. It's coffee with snakes, right? I hope everybody had a great week. I had a pretty exciting week. Couple neat things to talk about this morning once we get going. I was gonna get I was gonna get Archimedes out up here this morning, but when I looked at her hide, I realized she's in bloom. She's shedding, so it's gonna be another week or so before I can bring her back onto the show. But I haven't really spent a lot of time with her lately, so I was kind of hoping to get her out for the live stream this morning. I've been working with Little Man quite a bit. I don't know if you guys watched the short that I put up this week about what we'll be talking about today, which is snake behavior and snake socialization. And I've been working with Little Man a lot, so I haven't had a lot of time to mess with a lot of the other snakes and whatnot. So I'm sorry, buddy. Let's get you up here so Dad can finish making his coffee. You haven't been on my neck yet. Here you go, buddy. Here you go. There you go. You know where you're at now? All right. Oh, what a morning. Hopefully Herschel stays on me here today. If he wants to go back in, we'll just put him back in here in a bit. Um, so I've been trying to develop the socials and the Patreon and create some new things so everybody can kind of connect, because we're always talking about, especially on the lives, we're always talking about showing each other snakes off, and we're always talking about each other's snakes on the chat, but I don't ever really have a chance to see them. So I did a couple things this week, and to make it easier for us to connect and be more of a community. So I'm drinking Starbucks espresso this morning. Well, it's not actually from Starbucks. It's just a bean from Starbucks. So where are you going today? Where are you going, Hirsch? Oops. Good morning, Sonia. Good morning, Candy. How you guys doing today? I'm gonna put. Oh, it's still brewing. I'm so ready for this cup of coffee this morning. I'm super tired. Um, I was up late last night making material for the Patreon and for YouTube and all that neat stuff. So it's a bit of a rough night. And it snowed here yesterday. Like last Friday, Friday was 55. It was 55 degrees outside, and we were outside working, and we were like, organizing things, just doing stuff that you can't normally do in the wintertime outside. And then I wake up this morning and there's like 2 inches of snow on the ground. So yeah, it's beautiful, but it's aggravating nonetheless. So um if you're just joining in, I got Herschel. He's a little jumpy this morning, which is kind of neat, right? Because he is a well socialized snake, but we'll get into that. We'll get into that here in just a bit here when we start talking about socializing and what we can do to make our snakes more comfortable. uh, and better pets ultimately, right? I just love him. He's such a healthy boy, and I can't wait. I'm thinking about maybe breeding him next year. I'm not really sure. Not really sure. So, oh, what do you got there? As usual, life is kind of going on at the house here around me. Uh, Family's getting ready to leave here in a little bit. Are you okay? You're really nervous this morning. Did I wake you up? I woke you up, didn't I? He's really nervous this morning. Buried in covers with a fleece cap on. Sonia, I'm holding. This is Herschel. This is my banana pied. He's about 2 years old. He's a little nervous this morning, and I'm not really sure why. I think it's because I woke him up. Because I was going to get Archimedes out, and a lot of times I go in and kind of disturb their cage just a little subtly to kind of wake them up in the mornings when we're doing my live stream, so I don't disturb them too much. Um, but then when I lifted the high just before I started the live stream, I noticed that Archimedes is in the shed, which is about the right time for her to be in shed. So it's good. I mean, it's a good thing. It's always a good thing when they're in shed. It means they're growing. They're healthy snakes, and it means you're doing it right. So, um, but Archimedes is extremely socialized, and I thought she would be a good example of what a socialized, really well socialized snake looks like. All else fails, I can go get Dorothy. Dorothy's really most of the snakes are pretty socialized. They all have different temperaments, and I guess maybe we should talk about that too. Is sometimes, regardless of what you do, I'm sorry, let me stop for a minute. Uh, Herschel's lovely. Candy thinks you're lovely. Hersch, yeah, you are. You're a pretty boy. Um, he's going to be blue. He's been feeling really rough lately. Yeah, that's a good thing, right? I mean, it sucks because you don't get to handle your snake for a couple days, but it's kind of an affirmation, right? That you're doing things right with your snake and they're healthy and they're growing and you're feeding. Um, Even if not completely correctly, you're feeding enough that it's growing and it's getting the nutrients, the necessary nutrients it needs. So shedding is a celebration to me. I always see people like, oh, my snake's in shed and I can't hold it. I mean, yeah, and it's a little selfish, right? But pat yourself on the back. You're doing a great job. Your snake is doing exactly what a snake should do, and that's a good sign. So, um, I'm a little out of it this morning, guys. That's all right though. As soon as this coffee gets done brewing, I'll be all right. I always make my coffees, my pour overs. I do a pour over when I do the live stream. Some of you that's been with me for a while, I do a pour over special for Sundays on my live streams. And when I make those pour overs, like I have no idea. Like if I put the suggested amount of bean in there, it doesn't taste good at all. It tastes too light. So I just dump bean in there, and then like it always turns out super strong, and that's okay. I don't know if my heart thinks that's okay, but it's all right. Sonya, you have house snakes, right? Yeah, yes. Sonya's got house snakes. Guys, seriously, there is. I opened the community on YouTube, so you guys can post pictures of your snakes. So go to the channel, find where it says posts or community. I'm not sure what it looks like from your end. Find that. Post the pictures of your snakes. I want to see them. I really do. Um, Another thing I did this week was create a Earthbound Misfits Discord. So uh, I'm not exactly sure I'm gonna have this set up because I'd like to have one for just my Patreon subscribers, so I can chat with them and they can chat amongst each other. By the way, my Patreon subscribers, we're calling it the Den of Misfits, which I think is a cool name. Um, Tell me what you think. Den of Misfits, is that what I should call you guys? But I got a Discord set up, and I think what I'm gonna do is create a Discord for anybody who wants to join. Right? It's silly because I don't know much about Discord. I'm new to it, and I had to have my kids show me how to get it all set up. So what I need to do is figure out how to create a stream just for my Patreon subscribers, my paid Patreon members, and one for people who just want to go and check out, like a sample of what our Patreon might be like, which is a lot like our YouTube. There's some different footage and stuff on there. Paid members get footage that isn't posted anywhere else. The more personable, kind of behind the scenes stuff. So, if you want to catch those, it's a good way to do it. And then also on the Discord, I'm gonna put or on the Discord, I'm sorry, on the Patreon, every week I'm gonna start trying to come up with a topic that we're gonna do for Coffee with Snakes Live. And I'll have a post in there. I'll make a post in there every week for my Patreon subscribers to ask specific questions that they want answered. So you don't get lost. So the people who are, supporting the show and making it possible for me to do this, their questions don't get lost in the chat and I can address those right away. They get prioritized. And, if I just think it's a good nod and a good thank you to them to give them that stage, that soapbox, sort of, so to speak. So we're getting that set up, and so then so it's okay. So what did I talk about? Talked about the Discord. Talked about the community page, and on the Discord right now there is a bunch of I got subjects in there where you can post the pictures of your snakes. We have bioactive chat. We have a general chat, just for the misfits to kind of chat amongst each other. So you have more opportunity to connect rather than just here on the live streams or on the YouTube channel. I did a furry pets thing there too because I love my furry pets too, and I know you do too. I think it's important, right? So I put that up there. There's a few subjects. I'll be adding more to it, and I'm willing to take suggestions on what you guys think would be cool to talk about on there, or maybe subjects that you want to talk about with each other that I'm not thinking about, right? So I'm open to suggestions. Just make your comments in the community or even in the comment thread after the live is over, or I'll find it one way or another. I'll see it and take it in consideration and see what we can do to accommodate. So, let's see here. What else do we need to talk about? Oh, okay. This week, if you've been watching the channel for a while, then you know that we were trying to go to Uganda. My friend Dave Kaufman, I was going to go to Uganda with Dave, and we didn't quite make it. I'm not a huge channel, and that's fine. We'll get there. But Dave and a couple friends of mine, Tom, they're in Uganda right now. And if I was there, I would probably be coming to you live from Uganda, trying to do a coffee with live stream in a place where coffee's one of the number one exports. They're like the second largest supplier of coffee bean in the world, Uganda. So that would have been cool. A little sad, but I'm glad to see I got friends out there on adventure, and I get to live it through them. So, and I'm super happy for them. Hope they're having a great time. Have fun, Dave. I hope you're seeing everything you want to get. Oh, the other thing is I want to address is last night we hit 200 subscribers, which is a small, compared to some YouTube channels, we're tiny, but it's an accomplishment. And I just kind of wanted to thank everybody for, showing up every week, checking out the shorts, subscribing to the channel, following me on Facebook. it just, it's really encouraging. And I owe that to you guys. So thank you very, very, very much from the bottom of my heart. It really means a lot that, that people want to watch a little on me. Well, I know you're just here for Herschel and Archimedes and the rest of the snake family, but I can tell myself what I want. But thank you very, very much. Hopefully, we keep growing this thing and we're able to put out more education and more information about these lovely, lovely animals, and we can help break the stigma that often surrounds these beautiful, beautiful animals. Um, so yeah, 200 subscribers, guys. We're getting there. We're getting there. It's pretty awesome. Um, so I guess we should probably start trying to talk about snake socialization. That's funny because I have a hard time saying that word. And on the short, I made it short, and you can even hear it. And I thought about putting this funny little thing up, but I didn't because I figured you guys would just laugh at me anyways. Um, where I'm all, we're going to talk about snake socialization. And I couldn't say it right. It's funny, but can't say it, but I know about it. Here, I need you to be here. I need you to be here just for a minute while I do this, okay? Can you hang out for a minute? Let's check the chat before we get into this. Yeah, if you're hanging out, you're checking it out. We're just getting started this morning. We usually go for about an hour, but if you're hanging out, then hit like, subscribe. It only helps the channel to grow. And we're celebrating some growth this morning, so we want to keep that momentum going. Dude, can you hang out? I just want to sweeten my coffee, man. Okay. Okay. Just oh, I love snakes, you guys. I love snakes. Where are you at? Okay. So, sweet coffee. Oh, by the way, you see my shirt here. I'm advertising my most favorite pet store ever, Pittsburgh. Got a lot of my snakes from them. Great people. Mark, Sabrina, if you're watching, I love you guys. You're awesome. They're actually a lot of the reason I started this channel. Mark was really encouraging. He's saying, hey man, you love snakes, you love talking about them, you know a lot about them, and you're a great guy, so start a channel. Thanks, Mark. I appreciate you, man. I love you too. Sabrina, you too. Pittsburgh, I get all my feeders from them. I get gotten a lot of snakes from them. I go in there a lot. Some of my videos are from inside the store there, so just a nod to them this morning. Are you gonna allow me to concentrate and talk? All right. Oh, this is good coffee this morning, guys. So I'm drinking the Starbucks espresso bean. For those of you just getting here, this is Herschel. What are you doing? This is Herschel. He's a banana pie. He's about 2 years old. And this is Coffee with Snakes Live. Hit subscribe, hit like, all that stuff. Let us know you're here. Give us a round of applause. So, you boy, socializing your snake. And what does that mean? What does that entail? Let's go ahead and get into the topic for today. So I guess let's start off from the beginning, because when you get a snake as a baby, when a baby's born, it essentially has two instincts, right? It thinks everything wants to kill it, and it wants to eat, and that's it. And they're really tiny, and they're really defenseless, and get preyed upon pretty easy in the wild. So it's instinctful for them. So when they're first hatched, it's instinctful for them to be, really snappy and really biting, because they're scared. They're not trying to actually attack you. They're trying to get you to leave them alone. And that can be intimidating especially for new snake owners or somebody who's never been bitten by a snake and doesn't understand that it doesn't really hurt. Um, that can be a little intimidating. So how do you get from having this snappy little baby to having a pet you feel confident, comfortable holding, um, and interacting with? How do you get to that point? Well, it could take a little bit, and it's a little bit of practice. And some people say, well, you want to go in and just take your snake out and hold it for at least 15 minutes every day. Just go in, yank the snake out of his enclosure, and I strongly, strongly recommend against that. Don't do that. Also, I've seen where people say things like, "Oh, your snake is snapping at you. Grab him out anyways," and it'll teach him that that's not gonna deter you from holding him in. But all you're really doing is stressing the snake out when you do that. And that's not the kind of interaction. That's not the kind of association that you want with your animal, right? You don't want your animal to think every time you come to the enclosure, it doesn't know what's going to go on. It doesn't know if you're going to just grab it and control it and make it do what you want it to do. Um, and you're forcing it to do something and act in a way that it's not used to. So I strongly recommend against those practices. I'm not sure where that came from, but please don't do that to your snake. The thing about snakes is they think a lot slower than what we're used to, right? And I'm talking to new snake owners when I'm talking about a lot of this stuff. I know experienced keepers. I know you guys know some of this stuff, so just let me say it for the newer keepers, okay? Um, the when you first get a snake, sorry, I was distracted. I got family moving around in here. They're getting ready to leave and all that stuff. So, um, it's when you have a new baby, its instincts is to protect itself so it can get a meal and it can get as large as it possibly can. It can grow and survive, right? So it's going to be extremely snappy. Again, don't go in your enclosure and force your snake out. These are bad practices. Rewind the live a little bit if you missed what I just said. I think that's important to note. Um, but what I do is when I bring a baby snake home, it's just a few months old, and I put him in a new environment, right? So for one, I always quarantine my babies when I bring them home. So this is a new environment. It may have been hatched in a tub. It may have been, if it's hatched in a different and put in a different enclosure for the past few months. I'm sorry, buddy. If it's put in a different enclosure for the past few months, that's what it's used to. So when you go to switch that enclosure, the snake is automatically going to be nervous. And a tub snake in a glass enclosure with a glass front end isn't used to all those sights and all those visuals. So it can be extra nervous, extra snappy. It seems really aggressive. But it's really just trying to protect itself. It's extremely scared and it doesn't understand. So you want to give your snake at least a week to get used to the environment, investigate the things that's in its enclosure, what's going on the daily routines around that enclosure. I try to keep it relatively quiet around them, at least for the first few days, and let the stress levels drop. They can understand that they're safe and they're not in danger, at least while they're in the enclosure. Um, and I give them about a week in that quarantine, and then I think, okay, I haven't seen any mites. I have probably had I probably had a bowel movement since then, and so once I basically can see that the snake is pretty much healthy, I can go in and I'll just very, very unintrusively put my hand in the enclosure. Come here, buddy. Come here, buddy. I'll put my hand in the enclosure. I won't touch the snake. I'm not going to lift the hide. I may move around a bit in front of the hide because I want the snake to know that I'm there. I want it to come out. I want it to at least visually inspect me in the enclosure and try to get some tongue flicks out of it. And I don't do anything. At that point, I'm not going to go in and just start grabbing the snake. I'm going to just let it check out, let it smell, and have a neutral have a neutral interaction with my snake. I don't want to scare my snake, and I want it to understand that I'm not there to harm it. The big monkey coming into its enclosure every now and then, walking around outside of it, it's not there to harm it, right? Um, so I'll do that for a week or two until I get the snake curious enough, and I'm scratch that timeline. So when your snake is starting to be curious enough, it's gonna come out. It's gonna get a little closer to your hand. It's gonna try to get a couple tongue flicks on your hand, and that's kind of what you're going for as you're trying to create these neutral interactions by putting your hand in the tank, letting them smell, getting your scent around in there, and for them to kind of investigate what you are, what you're doing, and what your purpose is. Um, Again, they're pretty smart animals, but the main things they're thinking is food and safety at this point. So you want them to understand that you're safe. You're at least not going to hurt them, and you're not food. Um, and then after that, and you can handle your snake during these times, but I would say you want to do a slow introduction. Let them get used to their enclosure. Let them smell you. Let them tongue flick you. Let them see you moving around outside of their enclosure, realizing that every time they see you, you're not going to come in after them and take them out of their environment and do weird stuff with them like this. So after they kind of trust you a little bit, you can, that's about when I catch them out. At that point, I don't try to go into their enclosure and open their hide and pull them out. Like I would suggest against that. At least when you're first socializing your snake, like I can go in and open hides now. The only reason, aside from, you know, uh, the only reason you just go in and disturb your unsocialized snake is just to check its health conditions, check its belly, check its scales, make sure it doesn't have anything going on. Um, if you haven't seen it in a while, then go in and open up your hides and kind of let them and pull them out because it's good for their health, right? It's got to be done. It's important. So this is the only time you should really go into your hide, I think, and pull your snake out if they're not used to being handled yet. Um, and then eventually, gradually, you just kind of want to start interacting with your snake more and giving it more neutral interactions where you're not scaring it, and you're not scared of it, you know. Um, and it kind of you want to make sure it feels like it has its own autonomy, you know. It's kind of like if you're constantly controlling and walking your snake is one thing, but like making it do things that it doesn't want to do on a regular basis, it's going to recognize you as something it doesn't want to interact with. It doesn't enjoy, it doesn't get to explore, it doesn't get to use, make its own decisions. So you kind of want to minimalize that. Um, but so getting their scent, letting them know that you are a neutral party, you're not there to hurt them, you know. And then at some point, I just kind of, when I see them out, I'll go in there and I'll offer my hand and let them tongue flick on it and see what they think. And then I'll move my hand a little closer. It's these little things that you do on a regular basis that eventually your snake will be like, all right, let me see what this is about. I've seen this, I've encountered this quite a bit. It's kind of like when you put a new plant in a bioactive enclosure. A lot of times my snakes will come out and they'll investigate it. I mean, this is their behavior. They'll come out, they'll investigate it, and they stare at it like, this is something new. Make sure I'm not missing anything in the chat here. This is something new. It needs to investigate it, make sure it's not going to harm it, make sure, figure out, is it food? Is it an enemy? Or is it neutral? And, they come out, and then once they figure out they're neutral, they just start smashing the plants, right? They just start climbing on them. So that's kind of the behavior you're looking for. You want to get them to a point where they feel comfortable enough, that they've investigated enough, that they've had enough neutral interactions, that they kind of go, okay, this is safe, and I can try this. An important thing to remember is with reptiles, especially with snakes, like they're not gonna love you like your cat or your dog. I'm sorry, they're not gonna love you like your dog. They're not going to love you like you love your cat. They, what you're creating is a relationship. It's kind of somewhat of a symbiotic relationship, right? Is you are a vessel for them to come out of their enclosure, try something new, and explore new places. That's all you're going to be to them. Herschel, I've had Herschel forever. He's well socialized, but you see, he's just constantly trying to get off of me. I'm sorry, I keep hitting the table. He's constantly trying to climb off of me. It's not because he doesn't like me. Well, kind of. It's that he doesn't care. He doesn't care to hang out with me. He wants to go and find somewhere warm to curl up in and just be in a hide. That's all. But at the same time, he's relaxed, you know. And where you going, buddy? You're so beautiful. You know that? You're such a good boy. You really are. Yeah, I know. And then handling. Well, I can't remember what I was saying. So let me just say, when handling your snake at that point, you want the same thing. You want to give it a neutral interaction. So you know, I would suggest like once you get your snake where you can handle it and you feel comfortable handling it, um, it's gotten to know you a little bit. Do some of the things I just talked about. Um, letting it get used to your scent and your presence, right? And then once you're able to, handle it, and your snake's got not going to be. There's a there's a gray area, and I don't know exactly how to address this. And I'm just going to be honest with you. There's a gray area where the snake, if your snake doesn't know that it's able to crawl on you, like you have to let it know, what you're trying to do, why you're trying to get it to understand what your smell is. And you're going to have to figure that part out yourself. You have to check out what your snake is doing and kind of go from there. And when you can start pulling it out and kind of interacting with it a lot. But you want it to know, make sure the whole point of letting them get used to your scent and the sight of you is so they understand that you're a neutral party and you're not there to hurt them. And that's that's important. The most important thing is to keep your animal stress free as possible. To me, it is. Um, but at some point, you're going to have to pull that animal out. And when you do, sit down somewhere where you're not moving around a lot. There's not a lot of action in the room, not a lot of shadows passing over their head because that's an alarm for them. So you don't want to do that. You want to sit down somewhere calm. Make sure you have 15, 20 minutes just to sit down and hang out and not really do anything except interact with your snake. And what that's going to do is it gives the snake enough time to figure out that it's having a neutral interaction, that it's moved from its enclosure, and it's out in a different environment and it can begin to explore. So I say at least 15 minutes. One of the important things to remember about snakes is their brains don't work as quick as our brains or a lot of other pets' brains, a lot of other animals. They have very, very slow um, neurological firing systems. Let's call it that. Uh, if you ever notice your snake is really slow about things, it takes them a minute to realize what you're trying to do. It takes them a minute to realize when you go to put your snake back, it takes them a minute to realize that that's their enclosure. You have to actually watch them. You have to let them tongue flick and kind of look around and realize it's their enclosure. Oh, I'm so sorry, buddy. It takes them a minute, to understand what's going on and where they're at. They don't, and you can see that in their behavior. So when you're interacting with your snake, remember that. Remember that it takes them a minute to understand what you're trying to do. So your fast movements and fast decisions can be alarming to them. You know, be deliberate, be slow, be deliberate. Um, Mean it when you move. Mean it when you go to guide them. Um, because it's but they're you are just not going to stay on dad today. Um, but the way they think, it takes them a minute to register what's going on. So be patient. Be patient with your snake. Um, and then once you got them to the point where you feel comfortable, really important, is that you feel comfortable and your snake feels comfortable. Once you've got them to that point, you know, um, you start to create this bond. Your snake starts to learn your routines. I guess I should say that. I've said it before on my live streams before, but usually when I take my snakes out, the first thing I do is I drape them around my neck, and that's a routine. That's a routine for them, so they know that when I'm pulling them out of their enclosure, when they crawl out of their enclosure onto me, and I'll take them off my arm and put them on my neck. This is what we're doing. We're hanging out. We're gonna climb all over Dad for a minute, and we're gonna hang out with him. So, and I do that every time, and that helps that gives them a reference, right? Because as we just said, they have this slow way of thinking, so it gives them a frame of reference. This is what happens when we come out and I get to explore. He puts me around the neck. This is where I'm at. It's routine. It's just like a dog, you know, um, in that way, in that regards. Now, let's talk about snake behavior. A couple things I want to cover here. I want to make sure we cover in this live stream. So I'm trying to stay on topic this morning. So bear with me. Snake behavior. So one of the things you can do with your snake, one of the ways you can tell what it's thinking, and how it's feeling mostly, is its tongue flicks, right? A nervous snake is going to have a short burst tongue flick, just little burst, because what it's doing is it's trying to catch just the smallest scent particle it can to figure out what's going on in its environment. And a lot of times, you'll notice almost every time I go into my enclosures, unless my snake is out looking for me, well, looking to get out. Don't let me anthropomorphize too much here. Um, but every time I open the door, no matter how long it's been, I get at least a couple short tongue flicks so they can understand what's going on. Those are nervous tongue flicks. And you'll see in pet stores and with babies, or the first, where you have snakes that haven't been handled a lot. That's what you're seeing. Those short tongue bursts, those short tongue flicks. They're real short. They don't extend their tongues very long at all. And that's just so they can kind of quickly, because they're unsure of their environment, quickly get a scent particle of anything that might be going on. Um, and then once your snake relaxes, a good way to tell is you'll see those tongue flicks get longer and more often. And, they'll start to move. You can, most of the time, you can feel your snake's muscles kind of, relax a little bit, and they'll start moving around and being more inquisitive. So that's what you're looking for, is those long, are you going to do it for them? These long, see that? These long tongue flicks. And that's kind of a sign that your snake is comfortable. Um, and that's a good time to start interacting. Pull it out, and start interacting with it, because now it's comfortable. So these are some good signs. It's a surefire way to tell what kind of mood your snake is in. My snakes are socialized, but sometimes, they're all individuals, so they all act differently, even though they're socialized. Some of them are a little more tense than others. They don't really extremely relax. You see here, you see that Herschel is, hey, look at him. He's like a tube of toothpaste. He's so relaxed right now. Even though he's trying to get off of me, he's still super relaxed. He knows he's safe. Nothing's going to happen to him. And that is the most important part of handling your snake. Is making sure your animal knows that it's safe. Um, because as much as we want this to be about us, it's really about them. Um, so yeah, tongue flicks. That's a good way to tell. Body condition. Um, is your snake really tense? You know what I mean? I like to touch my snakes a lot, especially on their tails and their heads, because ball pythons, a lot of snakes, like ball pythons, are tail shy and head shy, and they don't like to be touched there, and it makes them nervous. So to get past that, they don't have to keep experiencing that throughout their life, especially with me. is I will intentionally touch their heads and intentionally rub their tails, not to scare them. Let me be clear. So when I rub their tails, a lot of times when I'm rubbing their tails, I'm holding them, and I'm doing this. See that? I'm doing this. I'm trying to mess with his tail, so he knows that it's it's fine. That when he's with me, that this is normal behavior, and I'm not trying to grab him by his tail. I'm not a predator. Also with their heads, Herschel is a hard one to. Let's just call him hard-headed. He's been a hard one to break of being head shy. But see, I just, without hurting him or anything, it might he might try to get around it. He's not really irritated. I still see a lot of long tongue flicks. So I just, run my fingers over their heads, make them crawl through my hands so they get used to that, rubbing their heads. So, and that creates, that's better for them, I think, in my opinion. I'll say in my opinion, I think it's better for them because when you're handling your snake, you're going to touch his head, you're going to touch his tail. It's going to happen. And I don't want my snake to be super nervous when I'm handling it, whether it's already socialized and with me, but it's head shy and it's tail shy. I'm still making it nervous every time I get near those areas. So I don't want that for my snake. It's that I want it to be completely relaxed all the time. So I try to do that as often as possible. So the other thing is I get a lot of questions about, hey, I see my snake in a strike position. Okay, so let's talk about that. Now, I own several snakes. So my opinion, if you're gonna have a snake, especially if you're gonna have several snakes, getting bit is probably gonna happen. Not because your snake is mean, because like we just talked about, it doesn't think as fast. Sometimes you'll move too quick, or just something happens. Dewey, one of my favorite snakes, Dewey bit me once. I was trying to add water to her substrate. Um, Before I really got her set up, I was trying to add water to her substrate, and I dumped some water in there, and not realizing she was in this hide, and the water started rushing towards this hide when I realized she was in there. So then I put my hand there to be a dam to stop the water from disturbing her, and apparently I already got to her, and she struck me and got me. Now, that's just her being defensive. She didn't know what was going on, right? It's not her fault. It was my fault. Um, I was being careless, and so I deserved it. But it was also a very sweet and tender moment. After that, she acted like she had done something so bad. She was so nervous about being out. Um, but if you own snakes, man, you're probably gonna get bit. And the cool thing about being bit by a snake is it really doesn't hurt. It doesn't. It's scary. My kids call it jump scare. That's what the kids call it nowadays. It can be scary because they're very quick, and it seems very, very aggressive because they're one big muscle. So the whole body kind of flinches in an instant. So I get that it's scary. But their teeth are like hypodermic needles, and it doesn't actually break the skin, it pierces the skin, which is much different than being bitten by a rodent, a dog, a cat, or almost any other animal that I can think of. Right? I'd rather be bitten by a snake than a tarantula. A tarantula is much smaller, but it has bigger teeth, and it's not designed the way a snake's teeth is. So, like when I get bitten, most of the time I don't even notice. Like if I didn't see the snake strike me, I don't even notice. It'll feel like a stick scratching your hand or something like that, and you'll look down and it'll be like these couple droplets of blood. That's it. So your not gonna try to eat you, and if it bites you, it's a little scary, but you'll survive. I promise. Um, where was I going with that, guys? Where was I going with that? um, okay, so you're probably gonna be bitten if you're a snake owner, right? Um, it's fine. It's fine. I promise. It doesn't mean your snake hates you. It means it's just responding naturally how it should respond. It means your snake is healthy, doing what it's supposed to do. It's snaking correctly. Um, Oh, I know Candy and Sonya know where we were going with that. Yeah, yep, snake. Yep, bites happen when your snake is agitated, um, is unsure of its environment, doesn't know what's going on. I mean, and it can happen. And I know several people who own snakes that's never been bitten yet, and they're still like, oh my god, I don't know what to do if my snake bit me. You just love your snake the same. I mean, if you understand how they are, and you get that they didn't mean it. Oh man, this coffee is tasting good this morning, you guys. What's everybody drinking today? I've been babbling this whole time. Like an awesome store. I'm sorry. Let me get to the chat. Let's take a break. Let's get to the chat real quick. Look like an awesome store. Oh yeah, Pittsburgh. Yes, very very awesome store, and they're in the middle of expanding right now. They're actually going to open on the aquatic side, which is going to be really cool. Um, Mark is huge in axolotls. He's like the axolotl guy. He's got an axolotl farm. I mean, I know he's like trying to move into other stuff, and he does a lot of stuff with the exotic animal community. He's at almost every expo. They're at almost every expo in my area. Great people. If you don't know the story, we've been really good friends for a while. Walked in their store on their soft opening. I don't even think they announced that they were open for business at all that day. I just so happened to pop in and talked with them. Next thing you know, I bought a snake like a few days later from him, I think, and we've been just the greatest friends ever since. And I go to the pet store all the time and help socialize their snakes and check out new snakes they have, and it's really cool. Uh, I'm only by happy because I was mistaken for a mouse, which is weird because you have hog noses, Candy. Uh, and I guess it's not really biting, but it's always funny. Like I've had hog noses, that I've handled at expos and other people's pets, and they turn around, and they're like, I'm gonna bite you. They're just so slow and so goofy about it. So it's kind of neat. You've never been bitten. Um, Bites happen when the snake is agitated. Yep. Yes. Yes. Absolutely. Yeah. House snakes. Yep. Feel like being bitten by Velcro. That's a good way to describe it. A snake bite is being bitten by Velcro. I've been bitten by lots of snakes. I go out and catch them in the wild and film and take pictures, and then I let them go. I never harm them. I never move them from where I find them at. I probably stress them out a little bit. But I want people to know about snakes, man. I want them to know that snakes aren't venomous. They're not out here trying to kill you, you know. I'm drinking hot chicken broth with collagen and creatine. Hmm. Collagen and creatine. Collagen. Did you put snake shed in there? Could you imagine that? Blech. I know a lady. Well, I don't know her, but I met a lady who makes soap out of snake sheds, which is crazy. I mean, I don't know if it actually does anything, but it's crazy to me. He doesn't bluff strike. He's a hissy face. he, yeah, he means it, huh? Yeah, that's pretty cool. Um, Guys, don't forget to post pictures of your snakes, man. I really want to see your snakes. I really love to see them. I mean, a lot of you have been with me for about a year now, and ever since we started this live stream thing, and I haven't seen your snakes yet. I've seen Sonia's because we talk personally on a regular basis, but a lot of you guys I haven't really seen. So I want to see your snakes. Post them. Also, check out the Discord. Again, I don't know how that works. Do I have to invite you? Let me know. If you know, let me know. Help me learn how to connect everybody. Because reptile community, regardless of where it shows up, it's always wonderful. It's always wonderful. It's always full of people who are mainly there to help. I mean, you get your few people here and there. I just had an experience, and I don't usually I don't usually talk about. I usually don't go into the forums on like social media where people are asking different things about ball pythons and this and that and when I was a younger keeper, I used to participate, and I learned very quickly not to. Probably a bad idea, um, because everybody's got different opinions. Um, Most of the people in those groups are new snake owners themselves, so they don't really have the information, more information than what you have most of the time. So be careful when you're if you're in those groups. But and you end up with a lot of people who just are, why do you even own that snake if you didn't do your research and blah 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 blah. If people were like that, if people did the research before they owned snakes and the world was perfect, how us keepers would love to see it happen, there'd be a lot less snakes in homes, and there'd be a lot more um, snakes in harm's way. So um, if you are going to get a snake, please, yes, do your research, but don't let it stop you from giving a good home to a great animal. Okay, I'll say that. Um, so I don't usually comment on these forums and stuff, but I did because I keep seeing people talking about bathing their ball pythons, and um, I try to give my ball pythons, I try to give my snakes the as most natural experiences I can give them. And there's more than one right way to do things, um, and we all have to remember that sometimes. Just because we do something a certain way and somebody does something a different way than we do doesn't mean what they're doing is wrong, right? Um, and a lot of times we forget that. A lot of times in those forums, you see people that are very, very rude about interacting with one another and having different opinions. I met a guy. I don't want to say I met him. I was having a conversation about soaking ball pythons, and I'm against bathing them. They don't like it. It's really one of the only reasons they climb in the wild is to get out of when monsoons happen, big rainstorms. They want to be out of the water, so they'll climb up on the branches to escape the water. They don't like it, um, and that's how it is in the wild. And I understand a lot of people do bathe their snakes, but my point here is not whether you should bathe or not bathe your snake. We could talk about that some other time. My point here was I ran into a guy that we disagreed, um, and it was a positive interaction. I totally expected the guy to be extremely rude to me when I was like, it doesn't change the fact, no matter how many snakes you own, that in the wild, ball pythons do not do this, and it stresses them out, right? And I wasn't being rude. And I even told him, hey, I'm trying to be nice. I'm not being rude. I just, this is what I do, and this is what works for me. And his comment back was so astounding because you don't get those types of interactions in those forums. And it was just a neutral, well, what works for some doesn't work for others. What works for me kind of thing is working for me, and my snakes are good. And I was amazed, because I thought, oh, great, this guy commented. I'm gonna have to go. I don't even want to look, because then you go down a whole rabbit hole, and I just don't want to do that. But um, yeah, we agreed to disagree about it, and I'm sure his snakes are healthy. It looks like he does a great job with the snakes. We kind of checked each other out after that. We became friends. Sent me a friend request, and I told him, man, that was a great response. So remember, you know, even though you disagree with somebody, it doesn't have to be a negative interaction. It could be a positive interaction, and maybe at some point you exchange ideas. So keep that in mind because we want to support one another, and in supporting one another, we're supporting the health and the life value of these animals. So being rude to one another is just going to drive people away from good information and creating relationships with people that um, could potentially be, very have a very positive impact on you and your husbandry, or a chance to teach or to learn something new. So I just wanted to give a nod to that because I think that's great. Um, I think it's great that there's people out there that still do that, and I was glad to be a part of that moment. because with Facebook and Instagram and the way the world is now, you don't get that a lot, and I miss it. I love humanity. If you guys know me, I'm a humanity first kind of guy, and I love animals, and humans are animals, so it's the same for me. Um, so this week, I'm going to change the subject on you again. Oh, one more thing before we shut this thing down is we've been talking about moderators because sometimes we get people in here who are just rude. I'm sorry, buddy. That's like the third time I've done that to you. I'm so sorry, buddy. Um, we get people in here with rude comments and blase scoop or whatever. And a lot of times I'm talking, I don't see what's going on here. I have to stop and go back and scroll and check comments, and sometimes I miss them. So we talk about having a moderator and have a young lady who's interested in becoming the moderator and kind of helping out with the channel. I'm going to meet with her this week over a video chat, and hopefully we can work something out, and you'll get to meet her. We'll talk more about her, and I'll introduce her as soon as possible. But I think she's going to be a great help because she's much younger than me, and she understands, she's going to help build the brand, I think, because she knows how to use Discord. Well, and how, just helping me post and moderate the socials, and then she'll be on the lives, hopefully, and hopefully you guys get to know her. She's wonderful, she's awesome, she's cultured, she loves snakes. So hopefully we'll get to that next week. I hope you learned something about your snake this week. If you have any questions, you go to the Patreon. You can sign up $5 for just that. At the $5 level, you'll be able to post your questions for the live stream, suggestions for videos and stuff that maybe you want to see, topics you want to see covered. But you can go there if you want your question answered specifically. If you want your questions answered specifically and you want to prioritize, you can sign up for $5. Post your question for that week, and then cancel. It's not a big deal. You don't have to stay on there. Of course, every bit of donation or every bit helps. So every membership to our Patreon is going to help us grow our channel and get more equipment and provide more opportunities for education. And some words are sticky. I don't know what you mean some words are sticky. Is it the live stream? Are you just trying to make fun of me? I don't know what you mean. Text me later and we'll talk about it. Anyways, where were we at? Yeah, every little bit helps. The Patreon will help grow the channel. Your likes, your subscribes, every interaction helps grow the channel, and I really appreciate you guys coming every week. If you're new to this channel, if you're new to this live stream, thanks for being here. Come back and check us out. Every week we do this. It's 9 a.m. Eastern time, every Sunday. I talk about snakes. We talk about your snakes. We answer questions, and we just try to have a good time, and try to stay positive and learn something and just hang out, man. Let's have a good time. So make sure you hit subscribe, like the video, like the live stream. Go check out the shorts. There's some pretty cool videos up right now. Shed assist videos, unboxing ball python, a couple expo videos that I have up on the channel. Go check out the Patreon. It's put the link in the description of this live stream, along with all the socials. Go check us out, man. We love these animals, and even if you're an experienced keeper, man, I'd love to have you here to hear your experiences, the things that you do, and that you're gonna help out the community too. So yeah, it's been a great live stream. Did I miss anything that I want to talk about? We have a few minutes left, like 2. So is there any questions that anybody want to ask me about socializing, um, what your snake is doing, or is there any questions I can answer about strike position? That was something we missed. So sometimes people will say, let me cover this real quick. Is my snake in strike position? Here's a good way to tell. Um, People say my snake is coiled up in strike position. So it means that their snake has their head laying, and it usually means it's coiled back like it's ready to spring out and strike, right? Here's a good way to know if your snake is just relaxing or if it's in strike position. Is its head elevated? Its neck and its head elevated? Is it doing this? Right? Because if it is, that's pretty much, I'm looking to strike, right? Most of the time. Sometimes they're just going to move forward and they're just checking out what's in front of them. But if you know your snake is already nervous and it's sprung back like that and its head is off the ground and popping around waiting to catch a signal, that's a pretty good notion that your snake wants to strike. So leave it be, let it calm down a little bit. So I got distracted earlier when we were talking about that. That was one of the things I missed. So that's kind of what that is. So does that mean that every time your snake is going to strike, it's going to be in that position? No, it doesn't. Um, Snakes strike from different positions, but that specific question gets asked a lot. So I just want to cover that. You can tell by if their heads are elevated off the ground, it means they're ready to shoot it forward. So relax. That's the only thing you do. Just relax, get to know your snake, go back in the video, listen to some of the things I'm telling you about introducing your snake to neutral interactions. Make sure when you get your snake out, you spend 15 minutes with it. Don't force it out. Don't get it out if it's really nervous and really tense. Let it smell you. Let it get to know you. Let it get to know its environment. Try to get it out when you see it out moving around. Which is usually at night or really early in the morning. So those are the things that I would suggest. Try to create as many neutral interactions. Let them smell you. Get them out when they're already out feeling, inquisitive and like they want to explore. They're already showing those behaviors. They're probably more relaxed. And don't handle rats before you get them out. It's kind of sticky in your mouth. Okay. What kind of coffee are you drinking? I'm drinking the Starbucks espresso bean. Hold on, I'll go grab it. So I can show you. You guys have seen this before. You all, Candy and Sonia and Ghost and everybody, I know you've seen this before. So this is the coffee I'm drinking this week. I don't know if I'll get in trouble for showing that, but it's full bean. I grind it up. I grind it up and do a pour over with it. So the only time I do pour overs is during the live stream. So, well, we're at our hour here. It's kind of stick in your mouth. Yeah, some words do. I don't know. That's the cool thing about live streams is they're raw. There's no editing, right? You can't go in and go, let me make myself look cooler. You can't do that. You can't stick to Great Lakes. Yeah, stick to Great Lakes coffee. Oh, buddy, I keep doing that to you. I'm so sorry. I keep doing that to him. Stick to Great Lakes. Yeah, they have great coffee. Kind of wish they'd come along and sponsor the show. Great Lakes Coffee Bean Company. That would be really cool, right? Someday we'll get them on. We'll get them on board, I'm sure. I'm bougie about some things. My coffee. I drink Starbucks. I get their white chocolate mocha all the time, and I love it. And it's gasoline compared to most people's coffee. It's like 5 shots of espresso, 5 pumps of white chocolate sauce. So we have some excellent local coffees down here. I should send you some. Hey, absolutely. I'm always looking to try new coffees. You know me. I love coffee. I love coffee. I love snakes more, but I love coffee too. So we're at our hour here, though, guys. We're actually a little bit over this week, which is fine. I didn't get as much into detail with socializing this week as like I did with bioactives last week. So if I missed anything, if you have any questions, you know, post them. If you want to prioritize, post them on the comment section on this video. Um, if you want to make sure they get answered, go sign up over there at our Patreon, which is Patreon, Earthbound, Misfits, Exotics, and More. Sign up. You know, you just pay the little $5. You can even post multiple questions in there if you want, and I'll get to it. I get to at least one, if not all of them. But you can sign up, like I said, for $5. Cancel your subscription after that. You just get the month or whatever, and that's cool. We have several different tiers. You know, if you want to be more supportive of the channel and you wanted to help watch it grow and help it grow, there's different tiers you can sign up for. So go check that out. And hey guys, thanks for being here. I mean, we hit 200 subscribers this week, which isn't a real big deal to bigger channels, but it is to me. Like I said, I really appreciate you guys. You know, you guys that show up every week, um, and we've gotten familiar, and we've created this community, and it's a wonderful thing. And I couldn't have done it without you. And I love you guys, man, with all my heart. I really do. And I look forward to seeing you guys every week and meeting new friends, and maybe creating some new snake lovers. So thanks for helping with that. You guys are the best. All right, I love you. So until next time, stay wild, keep your feet on the ground. Take it easy, guys. See you. Bye, Herschel.